Just get stuff done, that's a fact. Unapologetic on the attack.
Hey there, bitches. It is Heather Ryan coming to you from Des Moines, Iowa.
And Blythe Potter in Bargersville, Indiana.
We had such an interesting podcast planned for you today.
And Sunday.
And Sunday. You're right. I forgot about that. And it just doesn't seem to be working out. So I know I asked everybody, like, what was it, Blythe, like a month ago?
Like, God, it feels like a year ago, but yeah, it was probably about a month ago.
I asked everybody, if you had a troll, would you invite them onto your podcast if they asked to be on the podcast? And I would say the vast majority of people said, are you freaking kidding me? No, don't give her the time of freaking day. So I really, really, really struggled with it. But then we were like, I don't know, maybe. So then we kind of decided to, yes, have her on. And then Blythe talked to her on Sunday after she couldn't connect with us. I don't know what technical difficulty we're having, but for whatever reason, we can't seem to connect. So you tell us about your interaction, and then we'll talk about what we were going to talk about. And then I guess we can move on to a couple of topics, but Blythe's losing her voice, so we'll make this a pretty short.
I had a protest on Saturday. Of course, I used my voice there and some speeches, and it just totally wore my, and this is actually the best it's sounded since Sunday. But she called on Sunday, and was this before we were supposed to meet?
No, it
must have been after. It must have been after.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, she had all these ideas. She was a Democrat. She voted for Bernie. And then basically it sounds like she felt disenfranchised by the Democrats. And that's why she went for Trump after that. And that is a common theme. And I've heard a lot that people like that Trump doesn't do the status quo, which I agree. I don't like the status quo either. But he's like the bad, not status quo. Whereas like, I feel like us, the Democrats that the actual traditional party people don't necessarily accept either. Like we're kind of, but we like the party values. So we plow through and still maintain the Democratic idea, knowing that there's a two-party system, right?
Right.
So I think what I'm hoping she is looking for, and we are looking for, are actual progressive people who believe in human rights, believe in educational rights, healthcare rights, that we should have food and clean water and clean air and freedom of religion, freedom of the press, freedom of speech, due process, things like that. So, and we're kind of talking about, okay, well, how did we get off track here? And how do we, knowing that next year we will not likely be able to break the two-party system, we've tried many times, how do we welcome people to vote for progressive Democrats when we've been pitted against each other for decades? It is right versus left, when really the problem is the top 1% versus everybody else. It's a class war that's been disguised as political war. And I think we all basically want the same things. We've just been told that the other side is bad. So how are we reaching people like, her name is Danielle, who we might have on at some point? How do we reach people like that and tell them, you can believe what you want, but what is happening now is really bad, and we're not going to get out of this with Republicans? How do we reach the non-voters? How do we reach the youth? How do we reach the disenfranchised former Democrats or independents that voted for Trump? How do we get back on track and just get away from this?
Yeah. So that's what we were going to talk about tonight with Danny. I thought that maybe we would have what I think started out as a very contentious relationship where, she was doing these really weird posts on my socials. But I thought maybe because she is so much on the other side of things, how can we get back to point zero, where we are talking again and communicating with one another, and not like letting the other side paint us as literal demons and not let our side paint them as lunatics. And I do believe that a lot of them are lunatics, but where do we come to a common ground? And maybe we can have that conversation if we ever actually get her on.
Well, but to add to that point, there were 3 men on Saturday at the protest, which is another reason I watched my list. They started arguing about homosexuality being in the Bible, which actually was not added to the Bible until the 70s by white Americans. The word homosexual was not in the Bible until 1974. I could be misquoting that.
Yeah, and depending on the
in lived history,
it may not even still be in there.
Correct. So they were upset about that and abortion. And I think we need to be able to get to the point where we're not one topic voters. We will not agree with a lot of people on abortion. Now, I think there could be common ground, especially when so many women, it is life and death. So how do we set aside the issues that seem to be revolving around primarily abortion, access, and the LGBTQ plus community? We can argue about transgender in sports until the cows come home, but we're talking about less than 1% of the population. We can argue about abortion until the cows come home. But again, it's such a tiny amount of women actually have abortions.
No, that's not true.
That would be considered.
40% of women have abortions. And I think that's what we need to say, is that it's so common.
It is common, but a small percentage would be considered like controversial.
Oh,
like
true.
Most women don't wait beyond 12 weeks. I mean, by the time you know you're pregnant, you know whether or not you want the child.
Absolutely. You're not going to have some 8-month pregnant woman saying, dang it, I changed my mind. It's so stupid and insulting. Yeah. Insulting.
So we need to get rid of these like ultra hot button issues and get to the core of, we have lost our social services. Our veterans are suffering. Our seniors are suffering. Our unhoused are suffering. Our children are suffering. Our immigrants who literally feed us are suffering. Mm-hmm. So how do we get to that point where we can agree that what is happening now is not sustainable for anybody, including Republicans? Like even the elites this isn't sustainable.
Right. Yeah. Even the 1%, at some point, they will not continue to benefit from our labors if we can't eat, if we don't have homes. They will not continue to make money off of our labor if we can't do labor.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm hoping that at some point we have to get to the point where we can see, look how much we have in common. Mm-hmm. And those people, it's not R versus D, it's rich versus poor, or R versus P. So I really want people to realize that. And where's the messaging? What's the right message that we can put it out there? We shouldn't be fighting with one another over social issues. These social issues are what they're using to make us fight. Yeah.
So I guess we have a call to action. If you know someone or you yourself happens to be a non-voter and you listen to this, although that would be interesting, or also, historically vote Republican or historically claim to refuse to vote Democrat, or if you're a young person who's just caught up in the mix of this nonsense that's been created by mostly boomers. I'm not trying to throw boomers under the bus. It's just that is where the issue, they're holding on for dear life to what they believe was, it seems. How do we reach you? How do we have these conversations?
And how do we get the boomers out of office?
Oh my God.
It's
seriously. They need to be able to retire. Retiring should also be a human right. Enjoying your beyond 70 years old.
Well, these boomers can afford to retire. My ex and on, I don't know that I'll ever be able to retire. I don't know if that's ever going to be a thing for me. And if we could get these freaking boomers, Nancy Pelosi's out of office, that are just there to hold a seat because they're addicted to the power. And I'm not even just targeting Nancy Pelosi just because she's Nancy Pelosi, but she really has been in too long. How do we get them out of power and bring people who actually have our best interest at heart into power? What's the messaging to make Republican people and people on the right realize that we want basically the same thing they do? We want people who care about our needs, not the needs of the 1%.
And real humans. I don't want this like perfect politician who doesn't like, we've got to quit with the purity tests. We need normal people who are smart enough to pivot when they need to and be creative, because we don't know what's going to be next. It's going to have to be something different. We don't need to go back and do the broken systems that are now like completely shattered. Yeah. How do we do that?
So what was your call to action, Blythe? I don't think you finished that thought.
To share this with people who weren't voting or who were Republicans and refused to vote for Democrats. Like, how do we reach those people? What messaging or what conversations or what town halls or events do we need to have? Like, what are the ideas floating around? We're not the only ones with ideas. We're not the only ones who know that things need to change. Like, how do we collaborate on a big level? Although this is kind of small because Bitches Get Stuff Done isn't global yet. But how do we collaborate and move forward with something that's not the status quo Democratic message? Because people like me will never be endorsed by the DNC or even likely the Indiana State Party.
Yeah, which is crazy.
It is crazy.
And I can say from my own experience, the same thing happened to me. In Iowa, the party does not want to be associated with me because I'm just too progressive, which is a load of shit. They are fighting their own. They're eating their own just so that they can stay with the same old status quo bullshit that's hurting us.
Yeah.
It's infuriating. And
but they are elites too. A lot of currently elected Democrats are part of the elite. They often have money. They often have power. So why would they want to change if it may not benefit them?
Yeah, well, I can tell you all the people at the head of the Iowa Democratic Party are the elite. They've got amazing connections. They've got buco bucks. They're not suffering. They're not going paycheck to paycheck wondering, how am I paying the rent this week?
Yeah.
They don't have to worry about that shit. So yeah, absolutely. They are protecting themselves. It's infuriating. They have no desire to help the little man. It pisses me off. And we've got to get them out of office.
Absolutely. Well, I don't think people understand that there's a big divide within the Democratic Party too, where it is that status quo elite versus us who are like, it needs to not be about money. We have to be able to have a civilization, right? Like, our kids may not have a world.
Yeah, and we're fighting over classist issues. Mm-hmm. They are classist. I mean, literally, they don't want to talk to the dirty, unwashed masses like myself. It's, oh my God. And I'm probably one of the most active people politically I've ever known.
Yeah.
And they want nothing to do with me for the most part. It's, oh God.
It's frustrating.
Yes.
So yeah, if you have ideas, let us know. But apparently the government has decided to take away parts of the Constitution that's available on the government websites, to include the writ of habeas corpus and due process.
Yeah, you'll have to explain this because I didn't see this. I only learned about this when you told me just a few minutes ago. So it was on the website for Iowa or gov.org or something like that, or something, probably congress.gov.
All right. So let me find this is from Axios. The Library of Congress blames a coding error for missing sections of online constitution. The Library of Congress on Wednesday reported this.
But basically,
removed 2.5 sections. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So basically, it did list the entire Constitution from start to end, right? And now it's just missing portions of it that guarantee people the right to process.
They omitted portions of Article 1 that cover limitations on Congress's ability to suspend habeas corpus and grant titles of nobility. Now they're claiming it's a coding error, which is really, really convenient.
That's so stupid. They didn't have a coding error before. Who changed the code? You don't just
exactly.
Go around
what are they doing with it?
Hey, nobody goes around. Brandon makes websites for a living. He doesn't go around changing the code just randomly.
That was a directive. Yes. Section 10 of Article 1 was also removed. That restricts U.S. states from engaging in certain actions that could undermine the federal government's authority. I think
Jesus.
that was targeting blue states.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's very interesting.
It's
Very,
interesting
very
that they
interesting.
think that just by taking it off the website, that means something. That's not a legal maneuver. It's bizarre.
They're so, everything they do is bizarre. But it's interesting because remember, like in TikTok earlier this year, people are like, you got to get a hard copy of the Constitution because they're going to delete this stuff from the archives and from the websites. And like, yeah, they are.
Yeah, I do have a hard copy. So,
I do too.
yeah.
I do too. So very interesting. Outside of that, I've like really kind of taken a break from the news the last couple of days and just kind of getting snippets because I feel so overwhelmed by everything.
Yeah, well,
8 months of this is hard.
always self-care is most important. If you get burnt out, then everything you did was for naught. So
It's stressful. It's so stressful.
The big news for me is the mRNA funding, the RFK cut $500 million from any kind of research around vaccines that are mRNA vaccines. And I think what people don't understand is that he has a company or I'm going to put nonprofit in very loose quotes, that it spreads misinformation about vaccines. And so every time he does this whole spreading of misinformation, he actually gets more donations and makes more money from this misinformation. So him cutting off this NRA funding is based on what he had said a while back about how mRNA vaccines, i.e. the COVID vaccine, is the most dangerous vaccine ever created, which is just complete and total bullshit. Absolutely not based in any fact at all. Completely lying to people. So now they've cut off $500 million worth of that funding. So the bird flu funding that they were trying to develop, if that bird flu swings over to humans, we fucked.
We are.
We fucked.
Haven't there been a few instances where it's gotten into humans?
I believe so. Yes.
I think so too.
And
they stopped reporting on that because they cut the funding for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Remember when the pandemic was happening and Trump just wanted people to stop testing? Because if you stop testing, the numbers will be fine.
Yeah.
And somehow in his fucking brain, I think he thinks that's real. Like, just don't test
Probably
anymore.
does. He does not understand how this works.
Numbers seem really hard for him.
Well, everything is hard for him except for being a douchebag.
God. Did you
He's
see
the worst.
he was on the roof yesterday for no reason? He went up to the roof of the White House.
I heard about that. Like, make it make sense.
The only time I've ever noticed the roof of the White House was on 9/11 because they had anti-aircraft missiles on the roof
wow.
because we were expecting the plane to come in, and it was headed to D.C. The one that went down in Pennsylvania was heading to D.C., but we didn't know that at the time that it was going down in Pennsylvania. So that's the one time that I ever saw anything on the roof of the White House was on that day.
Wow, that's interesting.
Except for yesterday when Doof on a Roof was up there.
It's so funny. I heard about that, but I haven't looked it up.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're not missing much. I was just curious as to how his ankles and his big fat butt got up there, but that's just me being a dick. So a couple things going on in Iowa, because we're kind of wrapping up. I want to make sure that Blythe gets some rest for that voice. So she's got but a couple of events going on in Iowa. We've got the Ruben Gallego is coming to Des Moines on August 7th. That's tomorrow. Go through Polk County Democrats if you want to go to that. I think they still have space, but I can't guarantee that. And then I have a phony Joni Ernst town hall on Saturday, August 9th. That's where I dress up as Joni Ernst and I do the whole impersonation the entire time. And if people share their stories, she usually just makes fun of them. And unless it's really serious, I always empathize with people that are serious, because some people are really serious. They really bring their real troubles to me, and I can't do anything about it, but I do empathize with them because they're in a hell of a pickle with all the stuff she's done. So since she won't hold town halls, I'm holding one. So that will be in Davenport on Saturday at 4:00.
Do you record it when people do have real concerns to share and tag her?
I have only done one other town hall. So it did not occur to me to do that. Because I
Yeah.
was just like, it was kind of an experiment at the time. And it went so much better than I expected it to that I live streamed, but I didn't record it.
Yeah. So maybe, well, if you live stream on TikTok, you can go through and download the recording. But I did that with Jefferson Shreve, and we tagged him in it. We sent it to his office. It doesn't mean anything, but it really can be therapeutic to complain knowing that it might reach them.
Yeah.
They might
Yeah.
listen. We have JD Vance coming to town tomorrow to help us gerrymander just like Texas.
I saw that.
Yep. So there's a sit-in at the State House tomorrow, and it's supposed to go on all day. And of course, I'm working all day, and I'm off next weekend for a convention, so I cannot go. So I'm posting a picture of myself sitting in solidarity, and then tagging news stations and hashtagging SOS Indiana 2025 and Hoosiers Indiana, Texas, and there was something else. Oh, sit in Indiana.
Mhm.
So.
Oh, I get it. Yep. Wow.
I know.
Wow.
That's part of it too. Like, I'm so sick of Indiana making national news for the like most atrocious things. And it's not just state, it's federal, and it's just overwhelming right now. There's so much bullshit. Our governor is corrupt. It's just so bad. It's so bad. It's so bad.
Well, I know it's not a competition for whose state sucks worse, but I will put it out there. The Governor Reynolds did just say today that she is eager to deploy the National Guard to help ICE. So just expect that in your near future for your state, because it's like we just trade notes back and forth.
Yeah.
We would gerrymander here, but we've already got 4 Republican Congress members. So unless they see, they are competitive seats. We've got 3 really competitive seats this time. So unless they think that they can't win, I'm sure they won't give a shit about Iowa as far as gerrymandering more.
Yeah. We have 7 Republicans, 2 Democrat, Congress, and federal. We have Miami County Correctional Facility and Camp Atterbury are going to be turned into detention facilities.
Yeah, I
So-
saw that. Unfucking real.
It really is. It really is. And it's just surreal. Like I can't quite grasp my head around how I'm supposed to cope with that reality.
Yeah, that's fair.
But move forward with optimism for next year's election. It's very hard. And it's been very hard the last week.
Yeah. It sometimes I think it feels absolutely, you feel helpless,
Yeah.
for lack of a better word. I mean,
Yeah.
what's one person going to do? But then I get a lot of people that say that just us being out there and showing up and showing out helps them be inspired. And
Yeah.
that helps me keep going to know that in some small way, we're inspiring some people.
Yeah.
And maybe
Same. That is good. It's just, it's a lot. It's heavy.
it is. It's a lot. So,
8 months. We've only done this for 8 months.
I know. Cholesterol, it has
Something.
to
Something.
up eventually, right?
I mean, lightning. I knew a guy who got hit by lightning twice.
Oh my God.
I mean,
Anyway,
surely it could happen again.
right? Yeah, Brandon was trying to say that the roof isn't that tall on the White House. First of all, it is. But he was like, well, he probably wouldn't die. I said, you break a hip. Old people cannot recover the same way. So, yeah, he would die eventually.
No, once you hit 80, you're more likely to die from a fall than anything
Yeah.
else.
Yes. So I totally disagreed. He's like, well, maybe he'd break his leg. Okay, I'll take it.
Okay. Well, my voice will hopefully be back on Sunday. We might have a guest. We might not. Who knows what will happen?
Well, if we can't get Danny on, my troll, then maybe we'll have somebody else on. I know that there's a lady that's with Reproductive Freedom that she wanted to talk to us.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so we'll try and get some more guests. I enjoy having guests.
I do too.
Yeah, I think that it adds a lot to the program. So on that note, guys, if you want to get a hold of us, 442-0422 is our Google voicemail. I will not answer it, so you can leave a message and we will maybe play it on air. And you can also leave any kind of ICE movements, military movements, or militia movements on there. And if we get that tip, then we do send it out to our rapid response team. You can also find me at bitchesgetstuffdone.org.
And I'm at hoosierbitchesgetstuffdone.org for activists and organizing. And my campaign website is blythepotter.com.
This is our mini episode, and we didn't even have any commercial breaks. That's how short it was.
All right. We'll see you on Sunday.
Bye, guys.